Hello there, Shalom. Someone asked me about the fourth kingdom in the book of Daniel. Normally I don't go over this information, but for the sake of the question I will. The fourth kingdom in the book of Daniel says, the fourth kingdom will be as strong as iron, just as iron crumbles and flattens everything, and as iron shatters all these, it will crumble and shatter. The feet and the toes that saw partly of potter's earthenware, and partly of iron. It will be a divided kingdom, and will have some of the firmness of iron, just as you saw iron mixed with clay, like earthenware. As for the toes, partly of iron and partly of earthenware. Part of the kingdom will be powerful, and part of it will be broken. That you saw iron mixed with clay like earthenware. Okay, here's the interpretation of it. Daniel 2:40. It's talking about the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire turned into what's called the Constantine Empire. And we have the lands of the Roman Empire came to be dominated by Edom and Ishmael, represented by Christianity and Islam. Both, one as strong as iron, the other as weak as pottery, comprise the latter day fourth kingdom. And dealing with the septets, the 7 weeks of 7, we're going to go to Daniel 9:24. This is before the conquering. 70 weeks. This phrase refers to the 70 times 7 years, or 490 years. This refers to the 70 years of exile that have passed from the destruction of the first temple until the vision, and the entire 420 years period of the second temple. 9:25. The septets refer to full 7-year periods. The prince of this verse is Koresh, also known as Cyrus, who gave permission to rebuild Jerusalem at the temple and the temple. He ascended to the throne 52 years, that's 7 full septets, plus 3 years after the exile had begun. From then until the second destruction of Jerusalem was 430 years, or 62 septets and 4 years. This is where the prophecy comes together. 9:26. Agrippa, the last Jewish king, at the end of the Second Temple era, after his death, the prince of the verse, the Roman Titus, remember we talked about General Titus being a prince, he was a son of Vespasian. Titus would command the destruction of the temple, the Second Temple, which will not be rebuilt until after the war of Gog and Magog. We recognize Gog and Magog from the Torah codes from Rabbi Moshiach Rabbi, and they were found to be Iraq and Iran and her cohorts. And you can read that in Ezekiel 39, which is what we're in now, getting ready to go into Ezekiel 40, the building of the third and final temple, the Messianic temple, of which Moshiach Rabbi Shiloh, son of David of the Davidic dynasty, will reign and rule over. Okay, the Roman Emperor, 9:27, the Roman Emperor would make a treaty with the Jewish nation for 7 years. Here's your 7-year tribulation that everybody keeps talking about, saying, it's got to be coming now, it's got to be coming now. Well, it's already happened. Surprise! It says 9:27, the Roman Emperor would make a treaty with the Jewish nation for 7 years, but for the second half of that term, the Romans would violate the covenant and impede the temple service. The mute, a non-speaking, the mute abomination, and the word abomination in Hebrew means like a bellyache, like you want to throw up whatever you're eating. Abomination, i.e. a temple of idolatry. A temple of Zeus was built, and it was dedicated to Zeus. And Zeus was at that time the form of an eagle, and they had a pillar that had Zeus's name inscribed on it, and they placed it there and they sacrificed a swine, which was the abomination as well. Okay, a temple of idolatry was erected by the Emperor Hadrian. Hadrian on the Temple Mount. So, you have the Little Horn, which is the longest exile, the Roman exile that us Jews have been on for over 2,300 years, 2,300 or so. Going home now, since 1948, Jews have been going home left and right back to Israel. Now, Israel has not been called the State of Israel officially. The British Empire signed over the Balfour Act, but the Vatican never signed the document saying we're giving it to Israel officially and calling it Israel. That's what we're doing right now. We're battling to have Israel to be ours completely. And someone said, well, don't you have an Antichrist? No. The word Christ in Greek is singular. The word Moshiach is plural. We have the high priest who's a Moshiach, anointed by the Almighty. We have the king who's anointed by the Almighty. We have the priests who will serve under the high priest. And we have the Levites and the prophet Eliyahu. You know him as Elijah. Prophet Elijah is in Israel right now fulfilling Malachi 3. And if you look up Malachi 3, you'll see that. He's over there. His name is Moshiach, his title, Moshiach Rabbi. His name is Pesach, which means Passover. Eliyahu, you know as Elijah, son of Fault. And he's over in Israel right now. So is anointed Rabbi Shiloh, who's a shepherd, a prophet, a savior, because he brings us from the lands of exile back home to the promised land, to Israel, and that's what that means. We are redeemed by the Almighty, the Creator, the Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. And so, looking at all of this, you have now the picture of what's going on. So, the 7-year trial, great trial, was taking place back in the time of Second Temple era. That's over with and completed. The replacement Messiah was put in by Roman Senate, King Herod. He was of the Hasmonean dynasty. He was not of the Davidic dynasty. He was placed there, and he was a foolish shepherd. That fulfills the prophecy in Zechariah. I think it's 11:15 or 7:15. Look that one up. So that's your replacement Messiah. He was put there by the Almighty, because the Almighty says, I will place a foolish shepherd. So that's who that was. So you have your 7-year tribulation by Emperor Hadrian. You have your replacement Messiah, King Herod. And now we have what we're involved in with the Shemitah year coming to the end, also known in the Torah codes as Jacob's trial. That we do not plant or harvest except for harvesting for the widows, the orphans, animals, and the poor, not for self-gain. So, there you have it. And we just read in the Tanakh, which is older than the Christian Bible, and I can tell you by comparison with the Christian Bible and the Tanakh, and you can do your own comparison, some of the words are different. Some of the punctuation has been changed. That is called defilement to the Almighty's Word. The Tanakh is what we go by, our Jewish Bible. The Tanakh, okay? The Torah, the writings, the prophets, that's what the acronym Tanakh means. The Torah, the Nevi'im, prophets, and the Ketuvim, the writings. You can go online, Tanakh.org, and check it out for yourself. So, and someone said that I had mentioned that Yeshua's mother was raped by a Roman soldier. I did not say that. Did not say that at all. You can go on Glazerson.com, also on Glazerson Torah Codes on YouTube, type in Jesus in the Torah Codes, and it will tell you right there who it was, what happened, and why. So, go to that site, check that out, and once again, Shalom. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them up there. We'll go over them. These are not my opinions. These are not my discussions. This is the Torah and our ancient writings and from our sages of old. So, there you have it. Shalom.